Have your attention, please. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Face in your face. Face in your face.
Hey guys, it's Mizzy and I'm a mixed girl in a mixed up world. Welcome to the live show. Thank you for everyone who is here. Let me just get shine into the chat. I have a very special guest tonight. I'm gonna wait a couple minutes so people trickle in. This person is my partner. Hi, Debbie. This person has meant a lot to me, just becoming my friend, but also she has been, I don't even know the adjective to use. Like, she has been such a constant source of information and keeps me in line a little bit. And just like I said, my partner in doing this justice to get justice for Sandra Birchmore. I went back today and I looked at stuff and I found out that I went back to the very beginning of when I contacted everybody, and it was February 23rd, 2023 is when I messaged everybody in the family and all the friends that I could see on Sandra's friends list. Her page was locked to me, but I could see who commented on her photos. So I reached out to, I'd say about 15 people, maybe 20. And Barb is the only one who got back to me. So I feel like it was meant to be that, we were put in the place to, form this bond and form this partnership. We didn't know each other, and it's always strange and weird to start working with somebody you don't know, but it just worked. Barb balanced me. I tend to be a little more like, as an activist, I tend to be more aggressive, in your face. And she, was kind of like, hey, do you sure you want to do that? And she has been such a, like I said, a constant source of information for me so I could get Sandra's story out there. So I'm not going to wait much longer. I'm going to bring her up. Her name is Barbara Wright, but you can call her Barb. It's Sandra Birchmore's cousin. And my partner in this crazy adventure to get justice for Sandra. Welcome to the show, Barb. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
So as I was saying, we were talking about before we went live, that it was February, it's basically our 2-year anniversary of meeting and starting this partnership. It was, I messaged the families on the 23rd. I'm not sure exactly when we started talking, but on March 2nd is when I created the website. Everybody's saying, hi, Barb.
You mean the Facebook
Everyone,
page?
thanks for being here. Barb, say hi.
Hi. Hello, everybody.
Yeah. Barb has a funny story. Just to start from the beginning, where we started off our relationship. Why don't you tell them when I messaged you?
Yeah, you sent me Facebook Messenger, and of course, like most people, I went over to your profile to take a look, and your profile picture of yourself was pretty I want us to use the word gory.
Yeah,
because,
I'm gonna bring it up.
It was kind of bloody, but I figured it was maybe forgot to take down your Halloween photo or
Yeah.
something, or you never
I'm
know
gonna
what
bring
people. You never know what's on their Facebook profile pictures. So
and
it was.
after like a year, Barb actually made me
It took a while. Yeah, I didn't want to be
take
mean.
it down. Just
I
trying
didn't want to
to.
be mean. So yeah. I just said if someone was gonna go to your Facebook profile and see that, they might not want to respond because they don't know, what you're into. I mean, there's like blood dripping from your mouth, and it's just I don't know if you're a zombie. Looks like a really good zombie makeup, but I'm like, because you were in the process of contacting people for whatever reasons and
Yeah.
for interviews and information and all that good stuff, and yeah, that was a little off-putting. Do you have the picture?
Yeah, I'm bringing it up. It for some reason it
Oh.
closed.
All right, but we found out it was for what was it? A band? It was a
Yeah, it's my favorite band, 30 Seconds to Mars. They had
Oh my God. Oh yeah. See, I was like,
yeah,
should I answer her or not?
it they wanted they had a song where they was called the Blood Ball, and they wanted all their fans to send in photos because they were making a book. So they
That
wanted
was a good
add,
one.
and I was like, I didn't even think, like, it wasn't even in my, like, I didn't even think. I'm just trying to, and initially it wasn't in my head to do the page. I was thinking, I want to do I want to interview somebody from the family, because that's what I was doing. I was interviewing family and friends of loved ones who were murdered. And I thought, I'm local. I can get the case out there more. All people on my page were local people.
Yeah.
I was hoping that would help get her case out there a little more. And excuse me, I didn't even think to like change my photo. So that's how it started. Barbara's living on the West Coast, and so which was fine, because the time difference didn't matter much to me because I'm a night owl. And but you retired, and then you moved back to Massachusetts. About when did you move out back here?
That would be August 2024.
Okay.
No, 23.
23. Yeah. So
I'm so bad with numbers.
okay. So before we get much further,
why
don't you tell people about yourself?
Oh, God, these questions. There's not much to tell now that I'm retired, but no, I moved out back here from Seattle in October 2023, and then I retired in late November because my client at the time had finished his book, and he was tired. That was like his 5th book.
Yeah.
And so he didn't want to, he was done with writing books and was getting into podcasting and things like that instead. And
so what were you an editor, or?
Yeah, I was a book editor. Well, I was editing all kinds of things, but mainly books.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it was like just perfect timing.
Yeah.
That you were at that time you were deciding to come back to the East Coast, and it was like everything was clicking together for us.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell me who Sandra is to you? Like, how are you guys related? I know you're her cousin, but how are you guys related?
Well, she's actually my cousin's daughter. She was my cousin's daughter, and she was more like a niece to me than a cousin, because she was so young,
Yeah.
And I didn't have a lot of interaction with her. I just remember seeing her one time at a family reunion. She was about 6 or 7. She was this tiny little thing, and she was running around, and I got up to get something from the table, and she practically ran into me, and I'm like, "Hi, Sandy." And she looked at me, and she put her fists up, and she stomped her feet, and she said, "Don't call me Sandy. You have to call me Sandra." So I'm like, okay, we're not going to mess with this one. We got a feisty one here. Then we reconnected when Probably right before her mother passed away, we reconnected. And then after her mother died, and that was 2016, May 2016, then we really started talking like almost daily after that.
And I'm sure she appreciated that because, she, she lost her mom and then her grandmother,
Oh,
within a month.
It was devastating for her. Devastating.
And it's hard enough, losing one, your parent, your only parent, but to lose the other most important person in your life. And she had already lost her grandpa Jerry.
Yeah.
So, your family in a short period of time lost so many people. How did Sandra deal with that, do you think? How well did she handle it?
She withdrew pretty much for a while. She actually said to me that she felt like she wanted to hibernate, like bears do in the wintertime, and just, wake up and realize this all was a bad dream or nightmare. And she kind of withdrew for a little while. And then we both got on with life. And I think it was about 2018 that we started, like texting all day long. It was a never-ending conversation, I call it. There's no real goodbye. We just keep talking to each other, picking up where we left off.
And that's the one that kind of goes along with her case, that her phone was always in her hand. I've been told that by friends and family, that her phone was like glued to her hand, like most young people who are that. I mean, most people in general, we all have our phones stuck to our hand. I just want to touch upon. Whoops, that's not the one I wanted. We will touch upon that a little later. But if I don't touch upon that, make sure you ask that again, Stephanie. Thank you for that question, though. I appreciate that. So
big news.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So
suck me in. I'm watching it now. I love it. I'm like, I gotta know more about this, and now looking things up. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So how did you feel when you started hearing about Sandra was dating a married guy? How did you find out?
I didn't even hear about it, and I think till I think it was when I watched the case or something. I really didn't know what was going on.
Okay.
Except she mentioned it on the phone a couple of times, but it wasn't something we talked about regularly. She did mention it on the phone, actually. But she was very secretive about it. She never gave me any details or anything, just that she was with this guy, and then she'd go on and talk about something else. So, she really didn't say much.
So let's get, it's kind of dancing around the subject. Let's just dive in, rip off the Band-Aid so we can move on past this bad part. How did you find out about what happened to, how did you find out Sandra had passed?
My sister, Michelle, she texted me. And I know that sounds cold or kind of weird, but Michelle, when she's upset, she cries so hard she can't even talk. So I knew that she was very, very upset. So the best thing for her to do was to text. And I saw that, and I sat down right away, and then I called her. And then nobody really knew anything at that time, but it was a shock. It was a complete, total shock.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. When you started getting information coming in, and they started saying that she did this to herself, how did you feel?
I was outraged because I knew her so well. I knew that she could never do that. Yeah. I knew what was going on in her life and all the plans that she was making, and how much I mean, she wouldn't even eat anything without texting me saying, "Is it okay to eat packaged salads?" And I feel like, if you wash them really well, I could think so, but
Yeah.
check it. You might want to Google that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's been a while for me. So,
So
and
when did you find out she was pregnant?
I found out right after Christmas, I believe. I don't remember the exact date, but it was like during the holidays, she told me. So
Were
2020.
you, how did you feel about her being pregnant? Because I know she wanted to have a baby so much. How did you feel about, you know,
I was scared for her. Having 4 kids of my own, when you have a partner, if you're married or even if, just whatever kind of relationship, you have another person, another adult in the house, it's so much easier to deal with, but it's still hard to deal with, like a newborn that's crying all the time, and kids need this and that and the other thing, and I was worried for her trying to do it alone.
yeah.
And I was on a mission to find out who the father was, but she wouldn't break. I kept trying, and she just wouldn't crack. I tried everything.
So you guys find out that they're saying that she did this to herself. Did you take any actions? Did you tell anybody? Did you contact anybody?
I talked to my cousin Ray. I contacted him, and he believed it was a suicide. I mean, what else is he going to believe? He's sitting across the table from a Massachusetts state trooper or policeman or whatever, and they're law enforcement. We're not raised to doubt law enforcement or be afraid of law enforcement or think that they would lie to us. So he was sold on that idea. I was not, and I let him know.
Yeah. I do know that the family, they quickly realized that after, that
Yeah, I do know now.
something was wrong, and that, that they knew that Sandra didn't do this to herself. From everybody that I've talked to, she was so excited to be a mom,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they were, everybody that I've spoken to, friends, family, former teachers, coworkers, everyone they've said is like, there's no way. There is no way. And I mean, she was getting ready to start nursing school in the spring. She had just gotten a car recently that you helped her get. So it was like, people just, that's one of the things everybody tells me, is that they can't comprehend that that she would have done this to herself. We got a lot of people saying hi to you. Let's just,
nice. That's great.
Lots of love in the chat for you.
That's great.
Hi, Scott McGinnis. Hi, Izzy. Hi, Barb. Yeah.
Very nice.
Cherry. Hi, Barb.
Very good. That's great.
Yeah, there's so many people giving you love in the chat and saying hi. So let's kind of fast forward a little. I mean, because this part is really hard. When you saw that video of him walking in and out, what did you say?
I got chills. My blood ran cold, and it still does. And I watched it probably close to 30 times at least.
Yeah.
And it just, every time you look at that, when he's there, and we don't know for sure, but probably why he was there. And his demeanor is so different from when he comes in to when he leaves. Because when he comes in, he's like kind of hunched over, and He's like, looks like he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders, and he's not looking at it around, and he just goes right in. And when he comes out, he's like standing nice and straight, and he looks like he's walking on air. He just looks like totally different person practically.
Yeah, we were talking
Very
about
weird.
Yeah, we were talking about that the other day, the difference in his demeanor.
Yeah.
And now that we always suspected that he went there to do this, but now that the FBI,
I did.
says that there was planning behind this, and it, he had been working up to this for a couple weeks, and we know from the reports that there was altercations with the two of them, but they brought even more, brought in the picture, and
Yeah.
it's just sad. The last 2 weeks of her life were, the person that people got to understand, Matthew was the constant man in her life. He helped her move into that apartment, and just the
Right.
fact that he would go do this too, and she I don't think she fully understood what love was, because what they were wasn't love, but in her mind it was. It's just heartbreaking to know that,
Yeah.
those were her last moments of her life. So I have the video. I won't make you watch it unless you want me to bring it up. I can bring it up. It's up
Yeah.
to you.
Please do.
Okay.
It's crazy to watch. It really is.
Sure.
It's weird because I remember that night. I remember her texting me and everything. We texted back and forth.
Yeah, you were actually one of the last people to speak to her.
Yeah, she was just checking up on me like she did almost every single day.
And this is also heartbreaking. These are the last moments. And
Right. So, and the time is off on that. Is that correct?
yes, it's 13 minutes fast.
Okay.
So he actually got there at 9:14.
I talked to her about 8:40. I finished talking to her about 8:40. 8:38, I think, to be exact.
So see how what we're talking about, everybody? He walks in, hunched down, head down, doesn't most people don't walk in hunched over with their head, oops. And then he just straight up zips out.
Really something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, I had already, when I saw, when I came into, sorry about that. Oops. So I found out about the case when the Stoughton report dropped in September of 2022. And I've told this story many times. I was, irate, and I just didn't understand that nothing was being pushed forward, that why these guys haven't been arrested. And I knew right away, like, I just knew, like, the second it was, when I found out, because it was only like it was almost like an afterthought that they said, oh, and she killed herself. And I was like, what? And I was like, no, she didn't. And then her friend came on and was talking, and I was like, and I'm like screaming at the TV because I'm like, your friend did not kill herself. And I would keep looking for the case to move. I would like look it up when I would lay down in bed at night, doom scrolling before I would go to sleep. And I just could not understand why there wasn't any movement. And I can't imagine what it was for like you and your family to sit there and there was no movement on this case. You know, you all knew in your hearts that Sandra didn't do this to herself, but they were saying she did. And it was almost like they framed her for her own murder. Like,
Right.
you know, a lot of people who are in the chat are, you know, follow the Karen Reed case. And it's like,
Yeah.
and one of the things that was said in the child, pin it on the girl. Well, that's what they did in Sandra's case also. It's just Karen is alive to fight for herself. Sandra is not.
Right.
So I can't imagine, like, I know sometimes, like, I can't imagine to take on this project that we've been working on for the last 2 years every day. I know how much of a toll it takes on you. And I know some days you just don't want to do it. You don't want to talk about it, but it's also that drive that we both have to get her case out there. You know, it's funny that at the beginning, it was like, we were like clawing to get people to come on the page.
Yeah.
You know, Scott was one of our earlier followers, you know, and thankful, you know, Scott McGinnis, you know,
Good.
he was one of our earliest followers. And, you know, so we started to slowly get people in. And then all of a sudden we like, oh, we have 1,000. Oh, whoa, you know, when you started seeing people coming in and asking questions about, not just about the case, but about Sandra, you know, how did that make you feel?
Great. That gave me hope, you know, that this wasn't going to just go away. It wasn't going to be swept under the rug, you know. That was my biggest fear. So to see people asking questions and, you know, giving opinions on it.
Yeah.
Very healing. Very nice.
Guys, we're gonna take questions more towards the end, but I do want to answer this question.
Okay.
Who found that footage and realized it was evidence? Well, the apartment manager, actually it was the not apartment manager.
Wasn't it mentioned in the Canton police report?
Yeah, the maintenance man, they recognized Farwell from when Sandra moved in, because he moved into that apartment. And they were the ones who told Canton PD and that they had the footage, and they turned it over to you know, to the Canton police and the Massachusetts State Police. And I'm not sure who got the footage and put it out. I don't know if it was somebody from the apartment or if it was the guys from the case. I'm not 100% sure.
Me neither.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was Kirk Minahan that put it, the guys from the case that put it out. We don't know who released it. And thankfully they did, because without that video, it was like, it was kind of like, because, you know, we were trying to leverage, you know, social media. And I didn't have a big following. Barb didn't have this. We both didn't have these big followings, but I was able to do videos on TikTok. And with the Karen Reed case picking up, I was able to go in there and be like, hey, there's another crazy case in Canton. Guys, come look. And same players. And then people slowly, you know, and that's why, like, I always tell Scott this. He was so instrumental in kind of vouching for it, because you know, he's been such a player in the Free Karen Reed movement. People were like, oh yeah, oh, Scott's over there, you know, let's, you know, he was talking about it in chat, you know, on other streamers chats, mentioning her. So it was partners like that, like followers who helped, you know, make it easier. And you know, obviously, you know, like I said, the case podcast, I look at there's different segments of Sandra's case. You know, obviously what happened to her. The Stoughton Police Department, I know they are technically villains in this story, but they did good with this one part. You know, they decided to do that, you know, investigation where they digged into it. And, you know, Deputy Chief Holmes, he like went for it. You could tell there was no love lost with him and Robert Devine. And he went,
Sure.
he did. My only caveat that I always say is my issue is I don't feel like they went far enough. I don't feel like they dug into getting to the bottom of, were there other children? Did anything like this happen to any other child? Obviously not to the extent that Sandra, but were there other children that this happened to? Attempts. You know, we know that there was a young woman from the early years of him doing the Explorers group.
Right. Yeah.
And there was basically a 10-year difference between her and Sandra. That normally doesn't, people don't, if you have that proclivity, you don't stop, you know, you don't go dormant for 10 years. So it was, so back to what I was saying, we were clawing to get people to come join us. And like I said, we were like, when we had to change our welcomes to like, oh, I think it was 25, like after, and we had to set it so it was an auto one. We were like, wow, we're rolling, you know, like it was like, and every person that came in, we got excited. Right. And then it started slowly picking up more momentum. And, you know, it was good to see that people were taking an interest in Sandra's case. Right. How did that make you feel?
Oh, like I said, it really made me feel hopeful. It was healing. And I think when the autopsy came out from Dr. Baden, that's what really made the membership jump like crazy. And then again, when Matthew was arrested, so it jumped both of those times. So that was helpful too.
Yeah, we went from, I think we were about 6,000. So for a year and
600.
No, it was 6,000.
6,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you're right.
Yeah, and
again,
then
I'm terrible with numbers. I'm not a numbers. I was an editor for years. Numbers are not my thing.
We were about 6,000, and then Dr. Baden, that bomb dropped, and it was like we doubled overnight. Like in 2 days, we were up to 1,200, and then when he got arrested, we went up to, now we're at 1475, I think it is. 14,700. I think that's what we're at now.
Yeah.
You know, I know one of the things that you've told me is that, you know, doing this it makes you feel like you're doing something, you know, like what was it like before we started this adventure?
It felt hopeless. I knew I had to do something, and I was thinking about starting a page, but at the time I was working full time. I didn't have time to make a Facebook. Actually, not a page. I did build the website eventually, but the Facebook group page there.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to do it, so I would have to like find out how to do it. And then you came along and you did it, and it was great. That, you know, I finally had some hope that, you know, something was going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, like lighting a candle, you know, just in the dark. So
that's the thing that people don't understand is there's no book. I mean, I'm sure there's probably somewhere a book of, you know, a parent has come out saying, this is what I learned from when my child was murdered or a family member, but there's no pamphlet that people give you and tell you what you're supposed to do when you feel like a family member has been murdered. There's, you know, and then also, people
and they're
don't
saying it's suicide, you know?
Yeah. People don't understand that, like, when a family member is murdered, that kind of puts the family, the family who's grieving them, stuck in the early stages of grief, because you can't go through all the stages of grief that a normal person would do, because you're trying to, you need the answers. You're searching for, you know, what happened to your family member. And so you kind of like stuck on like a treadmill, and you can't, you know, you're not moving forward, just kind of running in place. And that's one of the things that, because of what I was doing before, I understood that, you know, And I think that's why Sarah thought that, you know what, Mizzy, you are perfectly capable and you know what to do, because
Yeah.
I'm doing that for other families and I was doing that with her. So I've learned so much from her, and also from doing what I was doing, like what I'm doing now, like doing the page.
Well, and not just that, you did all the FOIA requests. I mean, back then I didn't even know what a FOIA request was. I had to look it up. I'm like, what is that? You know, you were already getting all the reports and everything else. I didn't know what that was.
I was new to it, but I had already done a couple before that, so I wasn't afraid of doing them. But
Okay.
yeah, it
What?
there's definitely a learning curve, and I
Yeah.
learned a lot from Sarah, from Brandon's case.
Okay. Yes.
And that's why
Mhm.
she's an official, even though she doesn't do anything on the page. She'll come and post, but she's an
Yeah.
official, she's a mod, even though she doesn't do any modding on the page, because
Right.
if it wasn't for for Sarah asking me what's up with that Sandra Birchmore case, I might have all eventually got to it, because
Yeah.
I was interested in the case. It was just like I was
Yeah.
working on other cases, and it was just kind of like, oh, I got to make a video about this case. I got to do something about this case. And I'll get to it. I'll get to it. And then her coming to me saying, "What's up with that case?" I felt like everything clicked. And
Yeah.
then you were the one who answered me, and I'm so thankful you were, because like I've said, you know, because Barb knew Sandra, I was able to go on shows and talk about Sandra and tell people who she was, and about, tell people about Sandra. If you didn't, I could have ran the page. I could have very well made, I made the page, but it wouldn't have been the same if you weren't a part of it.
Yeah.
So I'm so thankful that
I'm glad to
you
be.
answered me.
Yeah.
you know um I was told by my retired FBI
Yeah,
friend
you did.
that the work that we've done, and I don't think people understand. Let me finish my sentence and then I'll come back to this. The work that we've done over the last 2 years has had a direct effect on getting him arrested, because it was that public pressure being put on the authorities, and thankfully the FBI was doing their job,
Mhm.
unlike the Massachusetts State Police and Michael Morrissey's office.
Right.
Um, but
Yeah.
what I was going to come back to, just for it, when when he was arrested, people kept asking me, "Well, how'd you guys, you guys have been working on this for a long time. How'd you do it?" And it was kind of like I would sit back and go, "Wow, how did Barb and I do it?" Because that's what I was going to say. I don't think people understand when I say my silent partner. Barb was my silent partner. Like, Barb and I, even though she was working a lot, and we might not have been always been able to talk throughout the day when you were working, especially, we
Yeah.
were in contact. I would ask her a question. I might take might take an hour for her to get back to me or something. But
Mhm.
we were like, when I say she was my silent partner, she was my silent partner. Just because you weren't supposed to be out speaking,
Right.
and yes, I was the face, but we were equals in this.
Yeah.
We always bounce
Yeah.
things off
It
one
worked.
another.
It
How do you
worked out great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really couldn't say anything till pretty much like when Matthew Fowler was arrested. That kind of opened it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I still have to be careful because there's a civil case
Yep.
going on too. So, but
Yeah.
um,
And
I usually keep it.
that's why when we get to answering questions, there might not be stuff that Barb can answer, because of the cases, right? The questions I'm mostly asking her was how did she feel? What did she think when she saw that video and things like that? So we're kind of staying away from the case. And so
Yeah. For now.
let me see.
Or now.
So when how did you Sorry, I gotta laugh. Um, how did you find out that he was arrested?
How did I find out that he was arrested? I think I got a message from Laura Cromaldi, the Globe, with the link to the article, the newspaper article.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was one of those rare moments, mornings that I would sleep. I slept in, like, because I was up half the night, unable to
Yeah.
sleep. So sometimes I get insomnia, and I woke up probably about 10:30, and I just happened to look at my phone because I try not to look at it till after I've had coffee because I'm incoherent until then. And I got it, I think around 10:30, 11 o'clock. She sent it to me. And then my phone just blew up after that.
Yeah.
It just exploded for the day.
I'm chuckling because I'll get to why I'm chuckling. But I found out that I was on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and I saw Michelle McPhee post something, and I was like, wait a minute, something's up. So I texted her and I was like, what's going on? She's like, I need to confirm. I don't want to say anything yet. And then literally I went back to X and the Boston Globe thing dropped. And I was just like, oh my
Yeah, there we go.
I was like screaming. My mom's like, they got who? I was like, but she's like, who? And I'm like, and then I'm like screaming. She was like, oh my God.
Wow.
And so the reason why I was chuckling is because, like, I'm getting, same thing, I'm getting bombarded. I'm like, I gotta call Barb. I was like, I gotta call her. So I called her, and Barb lives in an apartment. I live in the woods, so I could do whatever I want. So I'm like, we're talking. I was like, we're like, how are you? I cannot believe this, going back and forth. I was like, hold on a second. I got to do something. She's like, okay. And I like pull the phone away and I'm like, and she just started laughing at me. Like,
yeah.
You're like, you could do that. I'm like, I live in the woods. I can do whatever I want.
Oh my God, I missed those. I used to be able to do that where I lived before years ago, but not now.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, you're
getting a heart attack.
Yeah. Literally a heart attack.
Yeah. We don't want to do that.
That day, the next week, but that day for me personally was absolutely insanity. I went on
great.
shows.
It was a good day.
It was, and like after I got off of Banfield, the seventh one, I was just like sitting like my eyes were just like, and I was like, what just happened? It started there and and it was just like insanity. And then we just started getting phone calls from like reporters and
interviews,
TV shows and newspapers and People Magazine and Inside Edition. And what was it like for you to get all this, like, people wanting to know about this case?
Felt good to finally be able to talk about it, get it out a little bit.
Yeah.
Felt great.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that people don't know is the week before we had a meeting and we were all like, how are we? Because we had our standout that Saturday, I believe it was.
Okay.
And so the week before we had the meeting and we were like, we got to figure out how to get some more press. Little did we know. We were about to get some press.
Oof.
So since we're talking about, that incident, let me hold on. Let's watch the video for that. Oh, come on. Okay. Give me a second.
It reminds me of the year. What year was that we got all that snow? 2017, 2000, I think it was 16 or 17. I was complaining we had no snow. And next thing you know, it was like,
like a lot of snow.
Yeah, it was so much. I couldn't even drive out in it. I couldn't see what was coming down the street. It was ridiculous. It's terrible. There we go.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, it was insanity for us. It was just like I didn't know who I was for like 2 weeks. I really
you,
didn't.
yeah, you did all the media appearances. I did all the phone on the phone and on maybe some Zoom, couple Zooms, but
Yeah.
nothing major.
This is just going to keep looping. When you saw this video, I was so happy somebody got this.
I felt bad for his son though. I really
Yeah.
did. That was very sad for his son to have to see that.
I agree. I agree with that. When I saw this video, like it makes me smile. Like, it just, yes, I'm so glad somebody caught
Yeah.
capture of this moment. Because it's a beautiful thing. Like we were working so hard to tell the public about Sandra and this to get this case out there. And like you said, I mean, like in 2023, it was more about kind of building the hold on one second. It was more about building the page and getting things going with the Facebook page.
Right.
But once 2024 came around, I felt like we started hitting a stride. We started to do I did a standout at Michael Morrissey's office in August of 2023, but in 2024, that's when we started doing the standouts, and the public started coming and standing with us, and we were able to meet people and educate people in person. What was it like for you? Because you didn't go to the first few, but you started coming probably like when it was summertime.
I think like April or May.
Yeah.
April. I think April was the first one. Yeah. It was, oh my God, I felt like the Grinch when his heart grows. I was just so filled with love. I just felt so supported. It's been very healing for me. And the kindness of other people that's just the most healing thing ever.
Yeah.
I'm really grateful.
Yeah.
I'm
And
a great group of people.
it's funny to think about you then to now, because like back then, before he was arrested, it was almost like if a camera, if the news camera kind of even looked your way, you were like, nope. Like she was like trying to dodge that camera.
Guilty.
Like it was like
Yes.
it was funny. And now you're just like, yep, I got my sign and I'm here,
Yeah.
It's
Great. It's good to talk about it.
Yeah, we've done a bunch of good events, like to
Yeah.
like we did a domestic violence event at the Stoke Police Department.
Right. That was a good day.
That was a really good day, and it was meaningful to stand on those steps and talk about domestic violence, because granted, Sandra's case started with the grooming, but it ended up being a domestic violence case too. So it's like it felt really good to be able to stand on those steps and talk about her and talk about domestic violence when it came to her case.
There was a lot of coercive control because he had the tracker on her car and he was having her delete her messages, and he was controlling a lot of what she was doing. So and that's a form of abuse. So
yeah. I don't want to touch too much upon it. Like I said, when we talked, it's hard because, you don't want to get too much into the case, but, when it comes to the other guys, what do you want to happen?
I want to see them held accountable for what they did as well.
Yeah.
They're just as much a part of this. All right, they may not have murdered her, but they led to her murder.
Yeah. They had a hand in it.
They're named in the civil case, so we'll see how it goes with that.
Yeah.
But the criminal case is probably going to end before the civil case does, and the criminal case is or the federal case, I should say, federal case is going to influence what happens with the civil case. So
yeah,
time will tell.
Yes, definitely. So on February 10th, well, on February 1st, it was the 4-year anniversary of
Right.
Sandra's murder.
Hmm.
And we did a few different celebrations for her that day. And then February 10th, we first got to go to court for the first time.
Something.
And were you disappointed that he wasn't in court?
No, I didn't expect him to be there.
Me either, but I had that little hope in your heart that, oh, hopefully he'll be here. But I didn't think he would be there because we all knew that it was a status hearing, so it was a
Right.
very short hearing.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
but we did find out something really good, that the next hearing for him is on April 15th,
Right.
and the judge said to both parties, I want you to figure out a realistic
Yeah.
date to have the trial date.
Mhm.
So hopefully on April 15th, we'll have a trial date. I
Yeah.
personally believe it'll be, by the end of summer, fall, but if not fall, it'll be early next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
'Cause there is the Speedy Trial Act, and the judge said she wasn't going to enact that till the date was set, or I'm either the date was set or after this next hearing. So, and that would be when the date is set.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I posted that on our page, and it says 70 days from when it's enacted. So,
Yeah.
that's why I believe it'll be this fall.
Oh, makes sense.
Yeah. So that means we'll be having a lot of hearings, this summer, and he will have to start coming to them, or at least appear on video.
Okay.
Because he's in Rhode Island right now. Hi, making changes. Thank you everybody again for being here. We really, really appreciate everybody coming out tonight. We so there'll be lots of court hearings, and like I said, he might not come in person because he is in Rhode Island. That's where, but he will be on the screen. That's what I was hoping. I was hoping he was going to be on that screen. And
at some point, will he have to come in person?
Yeah,
with like the sentencing or the?
I think the judge will make him come and sit through the trial.
Good.
So, trying to think. We have some things that right now. We don't have any standouts planned for this next month. We decided to take a month off. But what do you want to do? What do you see for the future for our group? What else do you think we need to do to other areas that we need to achieve in our, for the Justice for Sandra Birchmore group?
Well, Sandra's number one, and her case is important, but it would be a great thing to educate the public on grooming and on, child predators and all of that stuff. I think nowadays more than ever, it's more challenging than ever. You've got predators in real life, you've got predators online. I mean, they're everywhere. And parents need to know what they're facing and how they can protect their children.
I agree.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we've been trying to do. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to start doing my own, doing lives on my channel. This channel, I've had this channel since 2020. But I felt it was a good time to start doing lives, because I wanted to, I wanted you to be my first interview, but I also wanted to, Peter Murphy said he's going to come on, his perspective is so valuable because he held the same position that Officer, Sergeant Lank did. Okay. So he can say what he would have done as a sergeant, how he would have done things differently. Wow. There's a lawyer that I want to reach out to who's a Massachusetts lawyer. I just haven't reached out to him yet. I want to talk to some mental health experts who can talk about grooming and you know, what happens to somebody's mind when they are a person who's groomed, you know, when somebody is gaslit and got, you know, has everything that Sandra went through, and they can speak to why Sandra might have made some of the choices that she made, you know,
right.
you know, and actually somebody just mentioned the ME. Let me bring that statement up. The state ME's forensic labs should
Yes.
investigate it. I agree.
Yes.
I mean, we can make the announcement for what we have planned. Sandra's birthday is on May 13th, and we are going to go to the medical examiner's office for her birthday and hold signs and let the medical examiner office know that, you know, we're not happy that they have not, you know, changed things, you know,
death certificate.
yeah. So we want to make sure that we, you know, we let them know that. So excuse me, I will put out all the information. I'll make flyers. It'll be on our pages, I should say. Now, Barb had a project that morphed from our Facebook page. Tell people about the website you built.
The website. Never thought I'd ever build a website after retiring, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun, and now that you can use AI to build a website, so it makes it really fast. But you know, we were talking about building a website. We wanted one so bad, and I'm like, what, should we hire someone? And no, we weren't having any luck. And then I just happened to be scrolling through YouTube, and I saw this one. It said, "Build a website in 5 minutes," and I'm like, yes. So I went and I got the what do you call it, hosting platform for it, and just started doing it. It was fun. It was a nice experience. It needs to be updated again. I still have a lot to learn, but we're getting there.
Yeah, it's such a pretty, you know, it's such a pretty and clean site, you know. It was all Barb. I just helped her, like gave her my opinions, like, hey, this picture might be better down here. But it was all, I mean, this was Barb's baby. It is still her baby, you know. She takes care of that site, and it was another tool for us to use. So people who aren't on Facebook could go on the website, and we've had a lot of people contact us through the website. I don't have the link right now, but it's, if anybody wants to check out the website, it's justiceforsandra.birchmore.com. That's the name of our Facebook group. If you're not in the Facebook group, I can't talk. The Facebook group, come join us there. We post a lot. We answer questions, and you know, it's a way for us to curate information about Sandra. So
it's a great way.
You know, we appreciate everybody. Or if you're not on either, I mean, if you're not on Facebook, you can follow at Sandra Birchmore on X, Facebook, whatever. I mean, Twitter, whichever you call it. You know, I post a lot of stuff there. You know, I post the standouts. Both places, all three places, we post about
on the website too.
And you know, that's a good way to keep up to date on what's going on. Because if you live in the area, you know, please come join us. Thank you for joining us. It doesn't matter if you're late or if you're on time. We appreciate you being here no matter what, you know. So why don't we start taking some questions? You know, we
Okie dokie.
Let me just answer this one real quick. No, it's partly my fault that, like, I don't live down there. I live up in New Hampshire, and I don't drive, so it's hard for me to get down there. And he's also been working hard on, you know, Karen's case, because he does stuff for, you know, they're gearing up for the trial. So but we are in contact, and we will definitely get that project done. You know, we did a lot of filming for it. We have some other stuff to film, and then, you know, we'll get that out. I mean, Microdots is amazing. Richie is just so talented. So, does anybody have any questions? I know we had that. Stephanie, you want to ask that question again? Because I won't be able to find it. So if you can, ask that question again, it would be greatly appreciated. Is there anything that you want to make sure that we talk about before, we, after the, we end it, after the, after we take some questions? Was there anything you want to make sure that we say about Sandra's case or about Sandra in general? To me, it's very important to humanize her. And I think that through our group, we've done a good job at doing that. But, is there anything, anything you want to tell people about her? Is the DP, oops. Laura J, is the DP on the table for Farrell? Yes. The type of murder that he did, he murdered a witness, and the federal authorities, like, they what's the word I want to use? They don't take, they don't like that. Let's just say it that way. They don't take kindly to witnesses being murdered. And she was a witness against him, especially towards the end. She was telling him, I know a lot about you and things like that. So. Michelle L. Will there be state charges? It seems crazy as we I bought something so I can read you guys' messages because I can't see them because I'm sitting far away from the computer. I bought I'm showing my age. I know I don't look like I'm 50, but I'm 50. And I am showing my age because I had to buy a magnifying glass. I just didn't open my packages yet. So it seems crazy. We as a state haven't done anything. Oh, we say that almost like what, every day?
Every day.
We don't know. We know that the Attorney General has the white collar portion of the case. So they could be arrested for grand larceny because all three officers were having hookups with Sandra on duty. So they could charge them with that, which I find disgusting that they would just charge for time theft and not for the murder of this young woman and the grooming and the abuse of this young woman. But right now, that's probably the only thing I see the state charging them with. Now, if Michael Morrissey is out of office, I bet a prosecutor will reopen the case.
That's a good
they know,
point.
and they can charge him with murder.
Yeah.
Let me see. Stephanie. Well, they didn't. I'm like,
they didn't litter with rubber ducks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So there's no way the state is going to be interested.
Yeah, it's like crazy. That case is so crazy that they spent all this energy and effort to prosecute somebody who was leaving rubber duckies around Canton. But they have, like Sandra's case and Just en Route, where they barely investigated and they closed them and said nothing to see here, folks. Oh, Stephanie, I remember your question from before. It was about, because I just said what Eliza Little said. So how did you feel, Barb, when I showed you the filing and told you that Sandra's case was going to be brought up in the Karen Reed they were going to try to get the documents. In Sandra's case, the unredacted documents and notes and things like that. How did it make you feel that they were trying to get that stuff?
It made sense. Makes sense to me. There's a lot of the same players, and the main one that comes to mind is Guarino.
Exactly.
Useless. Just what is happening? Like, either he saw something and chose to hide it, or he didn't see anything because he wasn't doing his job. One or the other.
Yeah. Exactly. We a few months ago, there was something in one of the filings that they were talking about getting stuff. I think it's when they filed to get the information, and basically they gave them the redacted stuff, the stuff that had redacted.
Yeah.
And
I heard about that.
when I saw that, I was like, "Oh!" And then when I saw the newer filing, I was like, "Oh, this could be good," because I knew it was going to be something that was going to they were going to go up and argue. When Miss Little got up there, I was like, yes, like I cried.
Oh, there's the glare. Yeah.
Hi, Will. Thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Wasn't that motion denied though? They're not able to get that?
Denied. She did deny it, but I think they could revisit it if they wanted, because she said she didn't have enough proof. So I think if they go back and revisit it, I could be wrong, but if they go back and revisit it, they could show her why there's just cause to release this information to them. But yeah, I cried because I was like, yes, Sandra's case has gone international. We had, we've had, YouTubers with million followers who saw who took up Sandra's case and did videos on her. But Karen's case is like it's obviously it's happening. It's been happening for the last year. I mean, it's been happening since John's death, but it's like since 2023, the same as the same as us. It was like we were in lockstep with her case. But the last year since the trial, where we haven't been getting, we had moments of things blowing up with Sandra, like when Dr. Bodden came out, when Matthew was arrested. But it's not like Karen's is constant. Like there's constant in the news and people talking about it. Yeah. And for them to talk about Sandra's case on national, during that hearing, like it just made me cry. And the stuff that was being said, that that these cases do have similarities, and it is the same players, and they want to use it to impeach these officers.
Yeah,
rightly so.
I can see how it could help their case. I hope it does.
Yeah,
I really do.
Legal swag, they need to refile that motion. The similarities is haunting. I agree. I fully agree.
Yes.
And it's when you look at those cases, these two cases, and Just En Route's case, what do those three cases have in common? They all involve accusations of police officers doing wrong, whether it be part of the investigation of the crimes or that it was the actual police officers that possibly committed crimes. We're the ones who murdered somebody, or so it's funny that these state troopers don't know how to investigate a case when it comes to investigating other officers. Because when it came to Brian Walsh's case, they did a great job. So, and when it came to Brian Walsh's case, Celebrate worked. But in Sandra's case and Karen's case, Celebrate doesn't work. And what Celebrate is no good, No. So
No.
So did anybody, I don't know if I missed some questions.
I don't think so.
This one.
This comment by Laura is interesting too.
The one above it? Or is it down at the bottom?
It's above it.
Okay. Wicked
Starts
Flight.
with Hank.
Is this new U.S. attorney for Massachusetts going to look into it? Has she spoken about it?
Okay.
She did do an initial interview when she came into office. I have not actually listened to it. That's something I do need to listen to. But,
Yeah,
but Sandra's case is ongoing. It's not stopping. They're
right.
You know, they're still. I mean,
There's
the
time.
case is being brought, but they're always looking for more information. So if anybody has any information, you can reach out to myself. You can reach out to Barb, or you can go to our website and reach out to us that way. We always, we can get you to the right people. So hopefully, we just hope that. My only concern with the case, and I wonder, Barb, if this concerns you too, because the state said it was suicide, and because the medical examiner said it was suicide, it worries me that this is going to be really good for his defense. Yes, the feds will have all the evidence, and they will have their medical examiner get up, their pathologist, I should say, get up and tell what happened to Sandra. But his lawyers are going to call the state medical examiner. They're going to call Fanning and all them. So, and so that's the only thing about Sandra's case that worries me.
It's a good point. Yes.
So.
Well, the defense is going to pull out everything it can. I mean, everything and anything.
Her case is going to get really ugly.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's going to be hard. It's going to be a hard case to watch. And so people know, if you don't know, this will not be televised. Federal trials are not televised. But I did find out that some cases you can download after the fact the hearings. So I'm going to look into it and see if her case will be one of those trials. So that's something where I could stream it the next day. So it would be a day behind. But if that option is there for people to hear, that would be really good. I just would have to get an external hard drive, which I've been wanting to get anyway. This is the question you were talking about. Yeah, it's like they're saying they care more about money than human life. Yeah, I agree. I fully agree with that. All right, let me scroll.
Yeah.
But my question was about Brennan having a fit about Sandra Birchmore being mentioned at Karen Reed's hearing last week.
He had a fit?
Well, Brennan's just an ass. He's just he's just an ass. And he is the biggest drama queen I've ever seen in my life. And he was only trying to put on a show. That's what everything that he does. It's just trying to put on a show. And he knows damn well that it's the same officers, and this stuff can be used as impeachment against these guys.
Yeah.
So he knows if he was a defense, at the defense table, because he is a defense lawyer, he would be trying to get this information too. He knows damn well.
Yeah.
Michelle L., let me see. I live in Stoughton. I'm disgusted. Why doesn't Stoughton police chief bring charges? She can't, unfortunately. The Massachusetts State Police have to file charges. They're the ones who handle deaths and murders and things like that. the Stoughton Police Department can't charge them. And they can't even charge them for the abuse that happened against Sandra. They did their investigation and turned everything over to the Massachusetts State Police, and the Massachusetts State Police decided not to file any charges. I've spoken to a few people. I text with the now deputy chief, and I met him probably about a year ago, and we've had a few conversations about it, and they wish they would, from what I've gathered, they wish they would have charged him. So, like I said, they are part of the villains in this story, but I'm also thankful that they did this investigation, the investigation that they did, because we learned so much more from the Stoughton report than we did the Massachusetts State Police reports.
Right.
Okay, let me scroll down.
Somebody asked something if we said something about the Cape, but we didn't. I don't think we said anything about the Cape Cod or something. No.
Stephanie asked, it's not just Trooper Greeno, it's Kevin Albert. Yes, but Kevin Albert isn't a huge part of this case.
No.
He was only part of, he wasn't there when Sandra was found. He wasn't one of the 5 officers who were there. He was one of the officers who went back when they went back on the 6th.
Looked at the video.
So he was involved at that part, but he wasn't involved in finding Sandra and being part of the initial calling of it being suicide. So yes, he is a part of the case, but he's only a small part. I mean, you never want Kevin Albert to be part of your case, but people put too much into how much he was a part of it. He really wasn't.
Yeah.
I fully agree, and crooked cops get protected by other crooked cops. Exactly. And that's what the problem is.
Yeah.
That's what the question we're talking about.
Yes.
No, Sandra didn't live in the Cape. Sandra was born in Boston, grew up in Stoughton, and lived most of her life in Stoughton, except she went away for college for a little while. But she moved to Canton. What was it? On December 1st, 2020. So she only lived in Canton for 2 months.
Right.
So yeah, she didn't live down the Cape.
And she was right on the line. I mean,
yeah, like when you pull out of the driveway for her apartment,
you can
see. I can't remember which direction.
Yeah.
I think it's the right.
Yeah.
There's literally a sign that says "Welcome to Stoughton."
Yeah.
So
you
like
walk to
it was literally, feet.
Yeah.
Let me see. AB, are there any updates with the twin brother or the other cop involved? No, there are no updates. We don't know what's going on. We can't see any eyes into what's going on with that portion of the investigation. I do know that they have spoken to people when it comes to that part of the investigation, just like, about the abuse. But, the FBI doesn't show their cards until they're ready to show their cards. On March 18th, I will be streaming Robert Devine's next post-commission hearing. And, it's very, very, very important for us to keep watching those because, we want his license taken away. We don't want him to have the ability to work details. I think that's one of the reasons, pride and also being able to do detail work would be why he would want to keep his license. And hopefully we get a date on that soon of when he's going to go to the actual post commission. I believe they said the last one that they are going to set some dates at this next hearing. So hopefully we'll get a date for that.
Yeah.
Laura J, do you feel safe with so many of them still out there? No, I mean, especially since I've been the face, you know, I know they know who I am. I've been on so many shows like Lara's show, so many shows out that I've been on and done so many interviews. And so it is kind of a little scary, that they know who I am, but I'm not gonna let them silence me.
Right.
You
Can't do that.
Yeah. You can't, I mean, yeah, it's scary. I had a state trooper try to intimidate myself and two of my friends, and that was scary. It was more scary of that I don't want somebody to be hurt because they're with me. And so that's scary. It's the same stuff that the Canton residents are going through when it comes to, free care and reading, that, they're being intimidated. But you can't let anybody take away your voice,
Right. That is correct.
Let's see. Wicked psyched. Mizzy, could you go to the trial and take notes, report back? Yeah, I just don't know. Unfortunately, because of my health issues, I don't know how many days I'm going to be able to go. I mean,
Yeah.
if it's a short trial, I mean, I probably could do the whole thing. It's just sitting on those like hard benches for 8 hours. I can't do it. But yes, you're allowed to. You can't bring your phone in, but you can bring, pen and paper and take notes.
You just leave your phone at the front.
Yeah, you have to
put it in a cubby for you.
Yep.
That's all.
So we will definitely make sure we get that stuff out there. And there will be plenty. There's reporters that I'm connected to that I have good, relationships with that we'll try to make sure that we'll try to get as much information out there as we can.
Right.
I assume Laura Grimaldi will be there every day.
Well, they have a court reporter too, the special one, the one we met. She's nice.
Yeah.
She's always at the courthouse. So.
Yeah. So we have a bunch of connections with a bunch of the press. So even if we can get a short update, get as much information out there as we can. But I definitely want to be there the day that Fanning takes the stand. I would love to be. I mean, if Karen's trial was in the big room, I would definitely be there the day that Fanning takes the stand. But she's in that small little room. But I would love to sit in there.
Right.
And they know me. I'm the bane of his existence,
Yeah. It's true.
I agree with that, Scott. Hank Brennan is simple. I can't even talk tonight. D.A. Morrissey's avatar, whatever Hank does or says, might as well be D.A. Morrissey himself speaking. Exactly.
There you go.
And he's more he isn't the jackass version of Michael. Michael Morrissey's an asshole, but Hank Brennan's a jackass. He's just a jackass. Like I said before, he's a drama queen. I'd like to know, Laura J. I'd like to know how a little more about Sandra. If I need to set my thing up.
Her favorite movie, her band, or the little things that made her her.
I do know she liked Carrie Underwood. I
did not know that.
Yeah, one of her friends told me that they used to drive around blasting Carrie Underwood, and I think they might have went to the Carrie Underwood concert, but I'd have to look back through my notes or my conversation with her. Sandra was very smart, what I've been told. I mean, Barb can get more into her but what I was told, she was very, very smart
Mm-hmm.
and goofy. Like she loved to like goof around, with her friends. Barb, why don't you tell us about your cousin?
Well, she liked to make people laugh, and she was very caring. She checked on me like almost every day. I went through some tough times, and she contacted me a lot. And you didn't have to ask her for help. If she thought you needed help, she'd just give it to you. You know, um, and she was very, very, very smart, and always trying to learn. So yeah, she was coming out of. She'd been through so much. I felt like she was starting to come out of that whole depression and everything from losing her mom and her nana. It was very tough for her, and she was trying to make the best of things. So that's why the baby meant so much to her, is because she wanted to start her own little family, and so that she would have that unconditional love. She missed that from her mother and her grandmother. So that makes this even sadder than it is. It isn't sad enough. So yeah.
One of the things that I've had, a few family members say, they reiterated, like, she was so smart. And I know it's hard for people to fully understand, because they're like, well, how was she able to get trapped in this? And it's just, that's one of the things I want to educate people on grooming. It wasn't that it was almost like she had blinders on because of the grooming. She was conditioned. So we will definitely, that's something we're going to cover on the page, is grooming. And she was just so smart, like so smart. That's one of the things a lot of people have told me. Bev, who found her? It was Canton police officer and Ensley Cotard. He was the first police officer to see her.
Okay. He was the SRO too, right?
Yes, he was.
And they said he had to take a few days off after. He was very shaken by the whole.
Understandable.
As anybody would be.
Yeah. No, thank you guys. Thank you, AB. Thank you for being here. It's important. It helps us get Sandra's case out there. We want we can't let her case go dormant just because Matthew Farwell has been arrested. That's not the end of our work. Our work does not end there, because there are other people, and we want everything to come to light.
Yes.
Yeah. Divine. He needs a lot of smoke. He needs to, he needs a lot of spotlight put on him. And, by showing his hearings, I'm hoping that we can show more of what was going on. And we're going to continue to talk about this case. Like I said, there are questions that Barb answered, but there's a lot of stuff that we couldn't really get into tonight. We can't really dive deep into her case because of because of everything. Laura J, do they think they would? Can you read that? But I cannot see it.
Do you think they would offer to take DP off the table in exchange for cooperation, like naming names?
The feds are very famous for making deals. The only thing is he would have to turn on his brother. And is he willing to do that?
I bet he would. Oh, I bet he would. Yes. I want to say thank you to Anne. She left a nice, she said, I'm sorry, prayers. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
I doubt Fanning takes the stand. That would be nuts. Do you mean, Scott, in Karen's case or Sandra's case? I think that I think that Karen's team is going to call him to the stand.
Wow.
Because they have some questions for him.
Okay. Huh.
Um,
Yeah.
and Mizzy, you are making us aware of case
On social media.
on social media. Yeah, I mean, that was that. Social media. Like I said, said earlier, we were able to leverage social media, and it worked out. It was a grind. It was definitely a grind for a while, but it worked out. I'm just going to look at a couple more questions, and then I'm going to pop Barb out. We'll say goodbye to Barb because I know she's got to get some rest because she'll have.
Farwell. He said he doubted that Farwell would take the stand. Do you think Farwell will take the stand?
Oh, I thought it said Fanning. Yeah, I don't think Farwell will.
He meant to say Farwell, and he said,
okay. Yeah, I don't think he'll take the stand either.
I don't either. He's a coward.
Yeah.
He'd be too scared to do that.
Um,
We know Laura.
Yes, Laura Grimaldi is an amazing journalist.
Yes.
Look her up. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're both in contact with her. Yeah. She is amazing. And I think I started to say this before, but I didn't fully put it out there. Finish my thought. I believe there are pockets when it comes to what happened with Sanders' case to get the story out there. It first began with Stoughton doing the report, starting their doing their investigation, and then the report. It was Laura Grimaldi and the rest of her team breaking the story in 2022. Then it was the Stoughton report actually being released in September of 2022. Yeah. Then it was the guys from the case putting out their podcasts. Mm-hmm. And then it was Sandra's aunt doing the civil case, filing the civil case. And then we picked up the baton and we started running with it. Not that I physically ran with it, but running with it, metaphorically running with it, and I think all those components were very important, very vital for us to use as tools, because like the case podcast, it was they did such an amazing job. Kirk Minahan and Dave did such an amazing job on it. And it was a tool for us to use because people would say, tell me about Sandra's case. And we'd say, here, go listen to this podcast. They did all the work. They tell you a breakdown of her case. Mm-hmm. We couldn't tell you any better. And it was the case season 2, if you have not listened, obviously there's more to the story now that we know, but it's a good deep dive of the case. If it wasn't for them, I think it would have been harder for us to push Sandra's story.
Definitely, yeah.
And it's all the little components, like the work that Laura Grimaldi was doing, the work that the Stoughton internal report did, the civil trial case being filed, and then the case podcast. Those were such tools for us to use to be able to push Sandra's case out there. And it would have been hard without each of them,
Definitely.
They were definitely tools that we use to our advantage.
Yeah. I mean, if you haven't seen the case, they break it up by each person, by each character that's involved in the case. So it's easier to understand that way rather than going chronologically, because it's just so complicated.
Wait, something's being said. I missed it. And
Laura Grimaldi is an amazing journalist. Look her up.
No,
it's the other one. We already had that one.
No, it's not a question.
She's a very good journalist, though. And the thing about her, she's respectful. She respects your privacy. She doesn't, try to be pushy about anything. She's really great.
Yeah.
She's a pro.
Yes, she is. And she, we always speak to her, and she always is willing to have a conversation with us. Mm-hmm. And, oh, that's one of the things one of my next streams, I'll bring that video up. I'll share it on our page too. Again, it's, Boston Globe did Laura and her team did
yeah.
a deep dive on the case again, like really broadened it so people could get to know Sandra more. They talked to a lot of family and friends, and then they also made a video that went along with it, and it's probably one of the best short videos I've seen about her case.
Oh, I gotta see that. I haven't seen that yet.
I'll bring it up. I'll post it tonight.
Okay.
Page.
That'll be good.
Well, is there anything else you want to let people know?
I think we covered enough for now.
I appreciate you coming on and
Sure.
so people
come
could
back
see
again.
Definitely. Well, you're always welcome on the show. And Barbara's always in the chat when I do a show, if she can be.
That's true too.
I know me reading the reports has been hard for you to like sit and listen to that. The reports, that's hard.
They're hard.
But she's always in the chats answering questions. And if you have any questions that we didn't answer or something pops in your head, you can reach out to one of us on Facebook, or go to the justiceforsandrabirchmore.com website, and you can reach us there and we can get an answer to you. I appreciate you. I'm glad people got to see my silent partner, the woman behind the scenes, who is like I said, been so valuable to me, being able to go out and be the face and push her story out there, because I got to know Sandra a lot through you and other people, but mostly you always were able to tell me, who this in the family was, who was this person to Sandra, and answer any question you could. And it made my job of being the face and going on shows and telling Sandra's story, made it so much easier, because I don't think I would have been able to tell Sandra's story, going on shows like The Glare or anybody else's show. I don't think I would have been able to do that if I didn't have you. It would have just been me saying like what was in the reports. I got to humanize Sandra a little bit more than it would have been very different.
That's a big goal for me to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's something we got to keep doing. People need to know Sandra wasn't just this girl, somebody who's murdered. She's not the girl who was just murdered. She's not the dead girl. She was a living, breathing, young woman who had hopes and dreams that had her life taken away.
Yeah.
So, so I appreciate you coming on tonight, Barb.
You're very welcome. And everybody else, the love I'm getting, I can't stand it. This is crazy. Thank you so much.
And we appreciate everybody who was here in the chat tonight. I'm gonna have Barb say bye, and I'm gonna kick her out, and then I'll say goodbye to the rest of you guys. Hi, Dana. So thank you, Barb. I'll talk to you later. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
I really appreciate everybody coming here to listen to my conversation with Barb, and all the replay people. Thank you. It means so much to me, the replay crew. You guys are awesome too. I understand not everybody can be here to watch the live show, and I know there's probably a bunch of other YouTubers streaming right now, but you guys always come back and watch later, and it means a lot to me. And everybody who was in here asking questions, thank you so much. I don't know if there's any other questions I can answer. I think we covered a lot tonight. Let me see this. Laura J. She deserves to be remembered for how she lived, not how she died. I agree. It's part of her story, but she's more than what happened to her. She was, like I said, she was a beautiful young woman who had hopes and dreams, and she was more than what happened to her. Nobody is just the person who was murdered. And unfortunately, when people get murdered, they tend to get lost. You know, we don't get to see who that person was. They just become that person who was murdered. That's why if you go back and watch some of my my videos that I made before I took on Sandra's case, I would always at the end make sure that I did a, you know, a photo video so you could see, you know, that person when they were younger, and laugh at their, somebody mushing cake in their face, or them riding their bike for the first time, so people can, it humanizes them, but also reminds you that this person lived. It's not just about their death. So, thank you everybody. It means a lot to me that you guys want to, thank you, Stephanie. It means the world to me that you guys want to hear Sandra's story and want to hear what we're trying to do. It means the world to us. It isn't always easy for Barb to talk about Sandra's case. I mean, we talk about it all the time, but to, verbalize it, it's easier to text than it is to talk about it. And it's important. It's important for her story, her part of the story to get out there, and also for people to know that, so she can get her flowers. Like I said, Barb has been my silent partner. Me and her have been lockstep for the last 2 years. And, like I said, it's meant the world to me that she decided to work with me and become part of, helping me. And, thank you, Wicked. You made sure she wasn't forgotten and won't be. No, she will not be. We don't want her legacy to be what happened to her. We want her legacy to be able to make sure that this doesn't happen to other children. And I think that's part of why telling her story was so important. Barb, if you're still listening, Legal Swag says, thank you, Barb. Appreciate you. Thank you. That means a lot. And I know it means the world to Barb that you guys came to listen to Sandra's story tonight and came to listen to, what she had to say. And I appreciate everybody here. So with that said, I'm going to pop off. Thank you again for everybody coming out to watch this. And thank you to the replay crew. You guys have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.